Well, there's no rest for the wicked at the Ultimate Recycler Workshop. There's stuff coming in all the time through eWaste, and we have to get more unboxings done. So today we're going to look at this bread maker. It was dropped off for eWaste. It's rather filthy. I'm presuming it's not working, but we'll have a chat about that. We're going to scrap it out and just see what sort of value we can get from it and what parts can be recycled, resold, maybe used. So let's have a look at that. Okay, I do get a lot of bread machines or bread makers through the eWaste. Oh, look how filthy this one is. I think a lot of them are still probably in working order. We have a cast aluminium stirring tub here. I think bread makers actually are a bit like exercise equipment. People buy them with the best intentions, and quite often they use them a couple of times and then put them away and never get back to them. So that happens sometimes. They come in and they're near new, and if I think, well, if I can talk to the owner and find out that they work, I will sell them, because my preferred method is not to scrap something. If it has some value as a going item, I will sell it, even if I just get $10 for it. It's probably better than what we're going to get for scrap. But then we need to know what value there is in scrap. So this one's being pulled apart, and any that are filthy dirty like this, even if the people tell me they do work, it's not worth the effort to clean up. Unfortunately, my time is too valuable to sit here polishing up old bread makers just to make, $20, because you can buy them pretty cheaply new. So if it can't be tested and resold, the next best thing is to scrap it out and see what parts we can reuse, see what parts are worthwhile for scrap. Oh, this is different. We've got a little tray in there. Now that looks like aluminium. Most likely is. So we're going to get a bit of plastic waste, we're going to get some scrap metal, and hopefully we're going to get some parts that can be reused. Whoops. So that's a nice piece of aluminium for a start, and a piece of plastic. Alright, I think this whole top will come off. As usual, I save all the hardware. Another screw at the back. How are we going now? No, not getting anywhere there. Let's attack it from underneath. Looks like the whole back panel comes off. So the bottom panel is just light pressing steel. We have a decent sized electric motor and a pulley here that drives the agitator. So we can just slip that belt off. It's like a multi-V fan belt. If you're into a bit of inventing, you may find a use for this. Sometimes I do keep bits and pieces that I can reuse, but I'm just going to send these ones for scrap. Little nut on the bottom of the pulley. And let's chop the cord off here to get it out of the road. Okay. Looks like the hinge will come apart here. The plastic's actually broken there, so it certainly wasn't a resaleable item, this one. Okay, the lid looks like stainless, but it's probably magnetic, yes. So that will probably just pop out, but the rest of it's just plastic. So I think we might leave that completely together, and they can just go to the e-waste bins at the transfer station. We also have this cast aluminium tub that has a cast alloy agitator, I guess you'd call that. And it has a drive in the bottom with a little circlip and then some screws that hold that mechanism together. So that's all cast aluminium, but the centerpiece won't be. It looks like it's probably stainless steel, and it's actually magnetic stainless steel. So there's no value in that for us. What about the handle? Oh, that's non-magnetic. That will be stainless. Now, if you're new to scrapping, stainless steel has a much better price than normal steel if it's the non-magnetic type. So I have buckets for stainless steel, which can be like $2 a kilo or something. By comparison, other stuff that may look stainless, that one's actually not, but some of the stainless actually is magnetic. It's just a different grade, and most yards will only give you steel shred price for that. So I only save the non-magnetic stainless steel. We'll get the rest of that one out later. Let's see if we can get into this. The whole case should come off somehow. Okay, I'll lift you back up. That's popped the control panel off. There's going to be a little circuit board in here. We'll snip the wires. We're only going to have a little board in there, which is basically just the buttons, the control panel, and the control buttons and the display. It looks like a bit of a solenoid up the top, but it's not really big enough to worry about, so that's just going straight to the e-waste. We have a board down the bottom. There might be some usable parts on that. Now I think the whole thing will lift out of the casing now. There we go, and the casing I'm just going to stand on and flatten it out. Okay, we have the body of the machine and the bracket at the bottom that mounts the motor, and the little gearbox through there. It's not actually a gearbox, it's just a housing for the rotor at the bottom. So there's some screws down the bottom there that probably will be stainless. Hopefully they come out okay. We have a heating element as well, and then really not much other value. Little circuit board around this side with a few various parts on it. Probably nothing we can really use. I'll take that out and have a quick look. And a little bit of wire to save. Let's see if these screws will come out okay. Sometimes going through cast aluminium they seize in there. Aren't we good? Okay, that actually separated it. Whoa, there we go, it's taken it off the base as well. So I'm just going to snip these wires here. We have probably a temperature sensor on there, so let's just cut those wires so that we can move the thing away. And the heating elements. And there's an earth wire around here. So we'll just put that one out of the road for the moment. So not much left now. There's not much in these things. We have a couple of screws here that hold one side of the electric motor on. And the other ones will probably be under this circuit board. We also have an earth link here. And just one screw that holds the circuit board down. Let's snip some more wires. So there's our little board and a little plastic holder. There's no parts I really want on there, so that can just go straight to the e-waste bucket. That one's probably a relay. That one's a large capacitor. So you can take the relays and put them with your electric motors. No value in the capacitors. No, I'm going to leave that intact as it is. The other two screws for the electric motor are here. And a little bit more wire. There's our electric motor. Quite a chunky motor in these. And like I said, if you're into inventing, you might well use that for something. But I can only keep so much stuff here. Let's take the wires off. And they can go to scrap. This steel can just be folded up and go with our pressing steel. Okay, what do we got left? A few bits of wire here. Let's just clean them up. Cut the plugs off these. So some electrical wire, we'll weigh that up shortly. This housing that just takes the drive shaft has a plastic boss there that the bottom of the tub drives from. So the rest of this housing is cast aluminium. I think that'll just tap out of there quite easily. Oh, there's a circlip on here. I'll take that off. It'll probably just about fall through. There we go. and there'll be a bronze bush or something that it runs through there. We'll just punch that out in a minute. Let's do it now. Sockets are quite often handy anvils for this sort of job, and it shouldn't take much to knock out, just with a punch. Easy. So now we have, almost easy, didn't quite come out. So now we have a nice clean piece of cast aluminium and a sintered bronze bush. But it's actually magnetic, so it can't go in with our brass. We'll have to put that in with our heavy melt steel. Okay, let's get the bottom of this tub apart. We have a little circlip there, which you can usually maneuver off with a small screwdriver, making sure it doesn't flick up into your eyes. There we go. A little drive piece should come off. That probably will be stainless. Did we test that? Yeah, we did, and it's not stainless. 3 screws here. I wonder how tough they'll be. Not too bad. And there we have our little boss that the shaft goes through. Again, that should tap out quite easily. Looks like it's got a bit of a seal on the bottom of it to stop it leaking. The rest of this is actually completely clean cast aluminium. Some of these tubs actually aren't. Some of them are pressed steel, some are stainless. This one is cast aluminium, which is pretty good. Gives us a receptacle to put our other cast aluminium into. And of course this bit here as well. Let's see if that shaft knocks out. Not that easily. Maybe it goes this way. Ah, yes. Beautiful. So again, we have another bush through there. So we'll tap that one out as well. Let's get a bigger punch. Let's use this one upside down. There we go. So more clean cast aluminium. That's probably magnetic, yes, so heavy melt steel there. This bushing is probably the same. No. So that's probably some sort of bronze. I think we could put that in with our brass. Let's run a file across it. Yeah, it certainly has a bronzy look. That can go in with brass. I think I can give this one hit in the vise and we can get the steel out of that. Okay, a few hits, but it came out, so just some more heavy melt steel there. Bit of rubbish. We might just pull this cover off and see actually what is under here. You might be curious to know. Plastic cover, there's our little control panel. Really it's just switches and a display, so I certainly normally would leave that in there. Perhaps the solenoid can come out. Solenoids can actually go with electric motors. They do have copper windings in them. Okay, we're all finished here. Let's sort it all out and see what value we got. And it's not really that much. Let's go quickly around it. We have electric motors with the solenoid. Cast aluminium, I'll put the domestic piece in there because it's much the same price. A little bit of insulated wire. The lid and the other bits and pieces, and that's all going to go to e-waste. It's just easier for me to get rid of it rather than store it here, even though the body there could go as pressing steel. That's the pressing steel that I flattened out or shred or whatever you want to call it. Low value, but if I have enough of it stacked up neat, I will take it to Melbourne. Otherwise it'll go to the transfer station for free. A little bit of hardware which I use. Stainless steel, a brass bush or bronze bush, some heavy melt steel. I've kept the feet separately, a bit of an experiment through the shop. I'm bagging these up in little Ziploc bags and selling them at $2 per set of feet, just for hobbyists. Not sure how it'll go. Certainly it'll be a good return if I get $2 for those, so just trying that now. I haven't sold any as yet. I do keep the thermal fuse because I've used those in repairs sometimes, not valuing anything for that. And I do keep this insulation sleeve stuff. Not that I need much of it here, I sometimes use it, but I find that if I put a jar full in the shop, people do buy it because it's handy stuff to have around. So I'm not writing down any value for that either. Let's have a look at the notepad. Very low prices, as you can see, because there's not a lot of weight in these things. The best was the aluminium and the electric motors. They were the two best things. The $2 for the feet may not happen. So, you know, maybe just over $5 return. I've got 50 cents down for the hardware because I've mentioned before I do put that in jars and sell that to hobbyists. So very little return, but on the plus side, it didn't take long to do, and it makes sure it's pretty well all recycled. Now, this stuff, as I said, will go to the e-waste section at the transfer station. Someone asked me once why I put plastic casings into the e-waste because there's no electronics left in them by the time I've scrapped them out. And I spoke to the company that takes the e-waste from here, and they do have facilities to have the plastic, or the ability to have the plastic recycled. So when they scrap things out, they have a buyer that will take all their ABS plastic and all that other sort of plastic that you cannot recycle through the curbside recycling system in Australia because they're only set up for container plastics. So they did say, yes, I can put the casings in with the e-waste even though there's no electronics left in it, and certainly they will have an avenue to get rid of the pressing steel as well. Some of it undoubtedly will probably end up in landfill, like for instance the drive belt. I probably can't recycle that. But at least it has a chance of most of the casings being recycled. The pressing steel, as I said, if I can keep it flat and neat, I will save it here. But I do every now and again get a bit much of it and just take it out to the transfer station. But it does get recycled there with the rest of the scrap metal. So where does that leave us? Are they worth scrapping? If you see a bread maker on the side of the road when you're out street scrapping, would you pick it up? Should you pick it up? Is it worth it? Probably it depends on your situation. There's a really non-committal answer. If you like pulling things apart, it's fun, easy to pull apart. Do one in under 15 minutes, no problems if you're not filming. So if you save up 4 of them, right, $5, $6, maybe $7 times 4 in an hour, not too bad. I've got a few other bits that I will keep, as I pointed out. Perhaps the other option is pick the thing up, chop the cord off it. The cord is good value straight up. Maybe pull the electric motor out, but it's a little bit involved. Probably time-wise, if you're time poor and you're just after a turnover, chop the cord off, cord in the electric wire bin. The rest of the machine would be able to go straight as pressing steel. And it's gonna, I didn't weigh this one before I pulled it apart, but you're gonna get, what did we have? We had 80 cents for the pressing steel that I put aside. There's some other bits, plus a transformer would add to that weight. You're gonna get maybe $1.50 plus a bit for the cord. Maybe it's not worth it, but if you're just picking it up and throwing it in the bin at the scrapyard, probably not so bad. So there you go. Hope you've enjoyed that. At least you know what's in a bread maker if you haven't seen one pulled apart before. Most of the ones I've done are all very, very similar. There is the option, of course, of using the motor with the belt and the other little housing. If you're making something, it might be handy. The other option is that I always consider if it's in good condition and it's pretty clean and I can talk to the owner and they say, yeah, it's fine, we just don't make bread anymore. Even if I just get $10 for it as a going machine, I'm ahead of scrap price. I don't have to lift a finger and someone will be happy, hopefully, getting a bread maker for $10. So there you go. Analysis complete. Hope you've enjoyed that video. I've got something else out of my pile of things to do. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.